years, and also practicing mindfulness for many years. My clients in my therapy practice are mostly people coping with difficult relationships or anxiety, and also with illness and loss. Hi there. I actually started working mostly with people coping with illness and loss, and through that, I gained a great deal of experience working with people coping with difficult relationships and with anxiety, because those things become more intense when there's a stressful situation of an illness or when dealing with loss. Thank you so much for letting me know that you're here and where you are sitting, and also what you're coming with. Where you're coming from in more than the geographical sense. What feelings you're coming here with today? What hopes? If there's something you wish to gain from today's session, I'd love to hear that. What's led you to choose to come to a meditation about welcoming emotions, and perhaps specifically about welcoming emotions that have to do with conflict in our most precious relationships. So for myself, it's been a journey for me of figuring out how to bring my mindfulness skills and my therapist sense of presence to the moments where I need those most. So I remember, thank you. I remember I remember one moment when it hit me that there I was sitting in my chair, being all mindful. I'm not sure if I was sitting formally back then like I do now, but I was getting mindful, feeling connected to myself, feeling able to breathe and feel good, and then standing up and walking into the room where the people are and losing it, or being really upset at someone who was expressing something to me. Yeah. I'm reading your comments now. And now, before we start the meditation, I'm going to read your comments as they come in. And then once we start the meditation, I'll read them every once in a while, okay? Let me see. Tanya says, as you were saying how you deal with people with grief, I felt my heart tug. And then Elena joined. My mother's name was Elena, and I'm grieving her loss almost 10 years. Wow. So, thanks for sharing that, Tanya. Yeah. So that I was saying that was a moment for me of realizing, wow, what's the point if I can get mindful or meditative in my chair? And then I can't hold on to any of it in the most difficult, sometimes excruciating moments of my most precious relationships. And thinking like, that's crazy, that's very frustrating and seems like at odds with what should be. I really believe that we should all be talking about, all of us, if you're on Insight Timer, maybe you also lead meditations. I don't know. I know at least one of you does. So it could be that I believe we need to talk more about how to bring these important skills to the moments where we need them most. And that's what I did. I took some time, took a lot of time to figure out, like, I can't meditate during a conflict with my husband, of course, right? That would be weird. But I did learn how to be able to listen deeply when I chose to, even when feelings were coming up. And lately, what I've been realizing is that what brings on most of our misery during conflict is our own feelings. And the more we can connect to our feelings or make space for our feelings, the less likely we are to be triggered during conflict. The more we can just have the skill to flow with feeling. And obviously it's going to look different during a fight or an argument than it does here today. But the more we practice it, in a quiet moment when we can, the more we'll be able to access just a little bit of those tools when we need them most, when we're in an argument and the way the other person is behaving perhaps is very upsetting, or the topic that we're trying to address. Yeah. And whenever I talk about using mindfulness or Oh, I see Angela wrote here, it's hard when we naturally want to move away from suffering. Yes, absolutely. And I bet you know this, Angela, that the latest research about therapy methods shows that actually approaching our difficult feelings, approaching the discomfort, rather than only finding ways to soothe, being able to also approach, that is what heals. And of course, we also want to be able to soothe ourselves. Yeah, being a witness, beautiful, beautiful. Uh, Being a witness to what's inside, right? So today we're going to practice a meditation that will start from, grounding in a meditative space, and and then we'll connect to emotion. First, any emotion that's present. I'll lead you through the steps, and then you might want to connect with emotion that's especially about something that's bothering you. You can do this about conflict, but you can do it about whatever emotion may be bothering you. And then we're going to try to just listen to that emotion. And it makes to hear what emotion actually wants can make emotion much less frightening. I do this for a living, and if you'd care to donate, that helps me continue to come here for free. I think I mentioned really early, I'm not sure if you all heard, that this is my first time doing a live on Insight Timer, and I'd like to do it more often, and your support helps me with that. So if you care to donate, that's wonderful. If you want to click on my picture and follow so you get notified of future courses, and I have a course that's coming out soon that's connected to this topic of what most makes us miserable during conflict. So if you click my picture and click follow, you'll get notified about that. You'll see that coming up. Um, okay, so as I mentioned, thank you. Thank you. Someone followed. That's wonderful, Angela. Thanks. As I mentioned, once we get started with the meditation, I'm going to check into your comments every once in a while. But I do love your comments. And if there's something that resonates for you, and well, I welcome you also staying in the meditation. But if you'd like to come out of the meditation and ask a question or say something that resonates for you, that's also welcome. Okay? I'm just looking here at some things I wrote down that I wanted to remember to tell you. Yeah. I find that when we push emotions away, then it's that much easier to project them onto the other person. Like for many years, I pushed away my own self-criticism, okay? Which in a way is a wonderful thing to be able to exile because we're so much in self-criticism. So to be able to have a handle on that is good. It was an important step for me to take to say, yeah, I'm wonderful as we all are. And be able to move away from self-criticism. But then I guess I got to a stronger place and I was able to see that because I was so distant from being able to hear any self-criticism of mine, I would project a lot of criticalness onto my husband. I would feel so criticized by him if he was just a little bit critical. So that's also in line with what we're going to do today, of just noticing our feelings, making space for feelings, okay? When we start doing this, I'm going to remind you this again. It's good to pick something that feels light enough to handle in this space today, okay? And I'll guide you about that too. Okay, so taking a comfortable position, I moved my meditation cushion here into my office so I could sit with you. But whatever is a comfortable position for you, for many years, I would meditate sitting up on my easy chair because that is the way I was able to do it. And perfect is better than done. Done is better than perfect, right? With meditating too. So whatever position or however your body wants to be right now, just finding that comfortable position for you. Okay, and noticing that the body right now, just connecting to body sensations for a moment with a gentle curiosity. And noticing that the body is supported. There's some noise outside my window, and I hope the microphone is filtering that. But if it's not, whatever comes into the meditation becomes part of the meditation. Okay? Connecting to sensations of the body. Noticing that the body is supported right now. Noticing the points of contact between the body and the cushion, the body and the chair. If you're on the floor, or if you're on a piece of furniture, your body is supported. And then noticing the sensations of the breath. In breath and out breath. Noticing the expansion of the belly, perhaps, or the chest with the in-breath. And the sinking down with the out-breath. And with no need to alter the pace or the depth of the breathing, simply witnessing it. Witnessing the miracle of breath that is with us at every moment. If it helps you to put a hand on the belly to connect to that expansion and release. Or maybe you're noticing the sensations of the air flowing into the nostrils. Just witnessing. And with every out breath, allowing the body to sink a little more into the support of the cushion or the floor, the piece of furniture that is supporting you right now. And if you notice part of the body holding more than it needs to, just noticing that. Perhaps in the noticing, that will invite just a little more of that sinking into the support. And if not, that's okay, just noticing. It's good also to notice that if you're sitting on a piece of furniture now, you're supported by that chair or that bed, and you're also supported by the floor. And you're also supported by the building you're in. And you're supported by the earth. So just allowing that truth, that the whole earth is supporting your body as you step into this work of welcoming emotions. And just taking a few more moments with the breath. In breath, out breath. In breath, and the sensations of the out breath. And I invite you now to connect once again to body sensations. Maybe allowing your attention to just scan the body with a gentle curiosity. See what's alive for you there in this moment. Maybe the first thing you'll feel is your knee against the furniture or the floor. Or the air on your skin. And notice now if there are any sensations connected to emotion that are present for you. So right now, as I'm leading this meditation, and there's a little bit of maybe nervousness, maybe excitement. There's two kinds of body sensations that connect to that. One is that I hear my heart beating. I can hear my heart beating in my ear. It's not disruptive, it's just there, like boom, boom, boom. It's maybe a little stronger than usual. So one could say that that is a sensation that is connected to emotion. But that's more of a biological effect of emotion. And there's another kind of sensation that is there with my excitement or maybe a little nervousness, which is like some butterfly feeling around my solar plexus. And that's the kind of emotion sensation I'm inviting you to look for. Not the purely biological sensations, such as a heart beating sensation or a clenched jaw, but more like butterflies in the stomach or a warmth behind the eyes, maybe a fullness in the throat. Just see if there is something there for you right now that is connected to emotion. And you may not find anything, and that's okay. I'll lead you through some more steps to see if you can connect with emotion sensation. But let's just be, first of all, with whatever is there, whatever's present. Bringing a gentle curiosity to any emotion sensations. And if you can, kind of extending your hands in welcome towards that emotion sensation, whatever it is. So the butterflies around my solar plexus, that's the kind of thing that we might want to move away from, like Angela wrote before, that we naturally want to move away from not only suffering, but any slight discomfort can be so worrying for us. So this is something different that we don't usually do, to say, hello. Hello, butterflies around my solar plexus. Hello, maybe tears behind my eyes or that sensation. or heaviness, fullness in the throat, whatever you find. You are part of me. You are welcome here. I know you want something good for me, even if I can't sense at all that right now that makes sense. And we'll be going into this a little bit more throughout the next half an hour, 20 minutes or so. Just welcoming whatever emotion you find, thanking it for its presence, for its being willing to peek out and connect with you. Okay, now if you're not finding so much emotion sensation, or if you'd like to see if there's something else, a different emotion that you want to work on, or but let's start with if you're not finding so much emotion sensation. A trick that I sometimes use for myself when this happens is just to say, I feel great. I am fine right now in this moment. And just sit with that. And sometimes that kind of creating that sort of a blank slate regarding emotion can help any emotion sensations that may be more subtle to show up more clearly. So see how that feels for you. Connecting to feeling just fine. There's no emotions right now that are troubling me. And see if that position, that kind of stance, helps some little emotion show up stronger. And then once again, whatever's there, noticing the sensation. Bringing a gentle curiosity to the sensation of emotion. How do I know there's emotion there right now? What is the sensation? What would I call it? And imagining inner you opening your arms in welcome to that feeling. Making sure that it's a feeling that you feel okay about welcoming right now. And if at any point in this meditation you feel overwhelmed or too uncomfortable with the emotion, then stopping and opening your eyes or looking around, grounding again in the present moment, and then coming back and picking something else. Welcome emotion. Welcome jumble in the belly. Or heaviness around the chest. Thank you for being part of me. Thank you for showing up in this quiet moment and letting me see you. I know you want something good for me. Even if it doesn't feel that way right now. And anytime the emotion sensation becomes less clear or your attention wanders, you find yourself somewhere else, just noticing where you got to, maybe naming it just for a moment. And gently bringing the attention back to the body. To the sensations of the breath. And noticing once again any emotion sensations. Okay, and now we're going to see if you want to access feelings that are specific to relationship difficulties, feelings that may be specific to a relationship conflict that is ongoing, or a specific recent conflict. And you can just pick one, pick something that you'd like to work with, that you feel you have the space to bring that curiosity to the feelings that exist there. So it might help to name an issue that comes up between you and someone you love or someone important in your life. What's an issue that's in conflict between you? A topic that there's often difficulty about. Or you may want to recall a recent argument or imagine a likely argument. You know, if you have something that happened recently and you can call that forth, that's great. It helps be very specific. But it's also fine. Like, if it's too hard, then you don't have to just take your energy, too much energy there. If it doesn't come, you can just imagine. You know what these interactions are like. So just imagining that. And it's important for me to say that anytime we apply wisdom or soothing tools or choice versus reactivity, anytime we apply tools like that in moments of conflict, it's a choice. It could be that you are experiencing conflict with someone who behaves badly. Now, these methods that I teach aren't designed with abuse in mind, and if that is your situation, I hope you'll seek local help. But people can behave badly and not be abusive, and still be behaving very badly, perhaps raising their voice, perhaps using language that is insulting to us. And so it's so important for me to remind myself and you that this work is a choice. We don't have to rise above someone else's behavior. But we may find that it is something that we want to explore if it's useful and helpful for us to do with full choice. So, connecting to that subject that you often find yourself in conflict about with a loved one or an important person in your life. Or recalling or imagining what the arguments are like. Really putting yourself in that place, in the room where it happens. Noticing the other person's face, what the other person's face looks like. Perhaps, if it feels safe for you to do so, recalling that thing that they say or do that really bothers you. But again, only doing that if it feels safe for you right now to go there. So for me, what's coming up for me is an argument that we have frequently around the holidays, which are coming up here, and spending more time with my family. And that is an argument. There's often tension about that. We don't argue about it the same way we used to, but there's often tension about that. So I'm just calling that forth right now. Just putting my mind, imagining how that's going to be, putting my attention to those kinds of conversations that we've had in the past. And now just noticing what emotion is there for you. With a gentle curiosity, noticing the body sensations. And there may be more than one emotion. For me, there is sadness at having family, which is precious to me, be a source of tension and difficulty. And there's also worry for me of like, oh no, how's it going to play out? Some worry, some tension. I'm just giving you those examples in case they help you be clear about what's there for you. And just, again, taking a moment to notice any emotion sensations that are present. And for me, when I do that, anger also appears, which is, for me, it's a wonderful example of feelings that I try not to feel. And then I'm trying so hard not to feel them that when they're triggered, they can just burst. So it's good for me to create space for that. Yeah, sensations of anger are present for me. And that just feels like a heat, like a liquid heat behind my face and around my neck. So just take a moment and see what's there for you. when you connect to a difficult issue that comes up in a precious relationship. And noticing, witnessing, as someone said, the emotion sensations that are there. How do I know I'm feeling anger right now? Or whatever the emotion is, tension, disappointment, fear, whatever the emotion is. How do I know I'm feeling it right now? Or where is it in my body? Just noticing the sensations. And now, once again, taking a moment to express welcome to that feeling. I'm glad you're here. Welcome sensations of anger. Welcome sensations of worry. I know you want something good for me. Thank you for showing up in this quiet moment. You might want to put a hand on your chest or on your belly to express that embrace of the emotion. We're embracing the emotion with gentle attention. I had an insight recently that the reason we are so afraid of emotions is that no one could hold them when we were small. So emotion became this storm that felt so dangerous. And especially as small children, feeling rage, which is a normal experience for a small child who's not getting what they need, even perhaps just on a physical level, they need something right now and it's not there. So there can be intense protest and sometimes even rage. And when our caregivers, most of whom meant really well, weren't able to hold that with us, emotions became very frightening. So now we're holding the emotion. Thich Nhat Hanh says when anger comes up, we can hold it like a baby. So whatever the emotion, the uncomfortable emotion that's there for you right now, we can hold it like a little baby, parenting that part of ourselves, mothering and fathering that part of ourselves that didn't get what it needed way back then. Welcome, emotion. I'm so glad you're here, allowing us to meet like this in a quiet space. I know you want something good for me. So now we're going to explore that aspect a little more, if you can. While you're welcoming that emotion, if it feels good to imagine yourself embracing it as you would a small child, or to see it opposite you, or whatever feels right to you as a way of being with the emotion right now that is present. Simply ask it, what do you want? I want to hear what you want. And whatever comes up is fine. We're going to keep going with this a little bit. So sometimes I find that at the beginning it's very unclear. That the only answer I have is kind of doesn't feel right or feels unclear, but it's always good to go with it if that's what's there. So let's do that now. I'm attending, I'm facing that part that is anger, and I invite you to attend to or face whatever emotion is there for you, and just ask, what do you want? The first thing that comes up for me is something in line with the emotion. My emotion that I'm experiencing now is anger. And what that anger wants is something that sounds angry. Something like, I want him never to say anything like that again. Okay? So that's what's there. Just noticing that that's what the emotion wants at this moment. So, okay. So now I can face that emotion, and I invite you to face that emotion and say, okay, thank you for wanting that. That's a legitimate want. That's an important want. Or even just, I hear that you want that and it's important to you, emotion. Thank you for letting me know. And thank you for holding that want. That is an important thing. See how that resonates in the body when you express or connect to even just a little bit of gratitude towards an uncomfortable feeling. Sometimes that can shift the feeling a little bit, sometimes not. So just noticing, how does that resonate for you when you do that? And now I invite you to ask again, to say to the feeling, okay, I hear you want that. That's a legitimate thing to want. Let's say you get that as much as you want. What else do you want? So taking a moment now to ask that in whatever way feels right to you. What else do you want? Anger or tension, whatever the feeling is. What else do you want once you receive that first thing? For me, what comes up is something much softer now. It's togetherness. And maybe that is true for you, and maybe not. Maybe the second thing that comes up for you, that emotion wants, is just as ornery, just as aggressive, perhaps, as the first thing was, and that's okay. And once again, thanking the emotion. Thank you so much for wanting that. That's such a good thing to want. If you can say that honestly, or I hear that that's important to you. And we're going to do this one more round. Facing that emotion once again and saying, okay, you said the first thing you want. For me, it was for him to never say that again. And now I hear the second thing you want. For me, it's togetherness, whatever it is for you. Okay, you get both of those wholly and as much as you want. Is there something else you want? So just giving that some space now to see if there's an answer from the emotion. You may need to repeat the question again, and that's okay. Okay, you wanted this desire 1, and you want this desire 2. You've got those. Let's imagine you get those completely and fully. Is there something else you want? For me, what comes up is to shine forth from deep presence. I've done this process quite a few times, and I find that that is often the final want for me. I keep going until, nope, that's it. That's the thing that I want. And often for me, shining forth from deep presence is the thing that I most want. And for you, whatever is there, it could be that it's still something aggressive. It could be that it's not clear if it's a wonderful want. And just allowing that, whatever it is. And once again, connecting to gratitude to this part of you for wanting this. Maybe for you as well, it's a wonderful thing that it wants. When you keep doing the questioning again and again, what do you want? You'll get to that place, I find. And then, wow, this emotion that I try so hard not to feel wants something so beautiful. So perhaps that's the space that you're experiencing right now. And just to allow gratitude to resonate in you towards that part of you that is holding that want. Thank you for being a part of me. Thank you for wanting this. And you can say this also if the final want that you've discovered is not so lovely. That happens too. So just thank you for being here. Thank you for your efforts and your caring. And seeing how that resonates in the body. Seeing also if that first emotion, for me it was anger, for you recalling what it was, ask it if it would like to step in to that good want. If you are connected to a good desire, a pleasant or beautiful desire that emotion has, you can ask it, would you like to step into that even if you didn't get all those other things on the way? Would you like to step into that? Thank you for the hearts. I'm glad this is good for you. Just allowing that. If you accessed a beautiful wish, trying it on, seeing if you can step into it. So for me, it was shining forth from deep presence. And I'm going to just give it a moment to see if I can connect to that. That brings up a little bit of tearfulness for me. So just noticing what it brings up for you. And we'll take another moment, and then we'll take another moment or two to come out of the meditation. And I'd love it if you'd stay for any comments or questions. Okay? So now just allowing that beautiful wish, if you accessed that. And if not, then you can continue to just hold the feeling in the embrace of your attention like a small baby. Noticing the body. You can also imagine everyone in the situation of the conflict connecting to that beautiful wish, if you accessed one. Everyone, my husband, the rest of my family, is shining forth from deep presence. I can imagine, right? To just allow that, whatever that is for you. And then inviting whatever you want to take with you from this meditation or from what you saw or any of the good feelings, inviting it to stay with you, trusting that it will stay present in any good way that it can. And bringing the attention back to the whole body. To the sensations of the breath. In breath and out breath. And with every out breath, allowing the body to accept the support of the piece of furniture that you're on, or the floor, and the entire building that you're in is supporting you right now. And indeed, the entire earth is supporting you right now. Just allowing yourself to once again sink into that. And when you're ready, if your eyes were closed, you can open them. Hello. Coming back to the room that you're in. Also with a gentle attention. I'd welcome any comments and questions you have. I love answering questions. If you'd like to support this work and you're able to give a donation, that helps me to continue to offer practices like this for free. And if you'd like to click on my picture and follow, I have some courses coming out soon and more free and also paid meditations about bringing our best selves to the most difficult moments of our most precious relationships. Yeah. And I'm really grateful to you for being with me here. I love this work so much, and I look at the world. I don't know if you were here at the beginning when I said that I'm here in Jerusalem. Look at the world and everything that is going on, and what do we need? We need so much to be able to bring our best selves to conflict. And it starts with our most close relationships. So thank you for joining me with this. Okay, I see that there is a question here. Thank you for your question. I'm just going to read it. I just signed in. I don't like conflict. I'll speak to that in a second. I just signed in. I am an aide in a classroom. The teacher in the classroom does not care for me, even though I give my all. I have anxiety about interacting with her. Thank you for sharing this. I think we can all resonate, and I'm actually really touched by your sharing and by your seeking to find a way to deal with this well. When you write, I don't like conflict, I know for me, I was talking a little bit about conflict between me and my husband, which is that's how I learned how to do this. Thanks, husband. Really, actually, it's been so meaningful for me to learn how to do this. But I also come from a very conflict averse place, a place where, like, the last thing I want to do is conflict. And my husband comes from a family where they yell a lot, too much. He'll even agree with me now about that. But I'm answering more than your question, Amanda, but I'll get to your question as well. It took me a while to acknowledge that sometimes the person who is more comfortable with conflict is seeking to talk more, seeking to resolve, wanting to work it through, and wanting closeness of a kind. And for me, I would just try to disengage from conflict. Me, the therapist, I was like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to go here. I'm out of here. I want to go away. So that's interesting to notice that sometimes the person who is more into conflict actually wants to contribute something to the relationship, which is closeness and working through, even if they're not doing it in a good way. And it's really important to also acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge that to you, that I'm not saying that the other person is behaving properly, and you don't necessarily have to rise above their behavior. It's a choice. So, Amanda, thank you so much for this question. Not liking conflict. So, when you say you have anxiety about interacting with her, is there a specific kind of interaction that comes up that you find you have anxiety about? Or it's just a kind of atmosphere she creates, a kind of mood she kind of sends your way? So one thing is that an important way to deal with this is to know that it's going to be there. I saw that you said that you just signed in, and I'm not sure you heard about the power of embracing the difficult emotion. And you might want to try to do that before you go into work, okay? And it doesn't have to be right before. Like, take a moment and see if you can create space for that anxiety with loving attention, knowing that it's okay, that it's just a feeling, knowing that it wants something good for you. And then going into work, pretty much knowing that there's going to be discomfort. I find that perhaps is the most important thing I can do to prepare myself for handling conflict. And what we normally do, because we so much don't want to deal with it, is, oh, this time it'll be fine, you know? And I have another experience that happened to me where I'm walking down the street with my husband and I bring up a subject that he always responds in a certain way to. Okay? I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but maybe it was about, I don't know, I want you to do the grocery shopping, or I feel this way about this thing in politics, or who knows what it was. And he responded the way he always did, and I was shocked. Okay? And that's not the first time it happened, but it was the first time I actually really noticed, I'm surprised when he acts the way he always acts, when he responds the way he always responds. So, Amanda, those are two suggestions for you. One is to see if you can do some work when you're not in the classroom of welcoming the emotion. And the second is to expect it. To expect it and to know that you'll be okay. That it's only feelings, that it's only discomfort. Another thing that happens when we expect it is we can think through, okay, how do I want to deal with that this time? How would I like to deal with this situation that I'm pretty sure is going to happen? If not today, then tomorrow. So there are those two kind of mindfulness, maybe psychological approaches. And then there's also the approach of, what do I actually want to do? Is there something I want to stand up for? Or do I just want to breathe through it, nod and smile? Or do I need to get help because she's acting inappropriately? All of these are possible. Yeah. This is a wonderful question I just got. How can we help our husbands work through their emotion when they don't seem to want to? So You're very welcome, Amanda. I really wish you success. I hope it's useful for you. And remember, this work is a practice. So I'll get back to this important question about our husbands, okay? But this is also something really vital about this work. It's a practice, which means it means so many things, but it means a little goes a long way. So we can practice in this very shanti, very complete way here with me, or listening to some of my free meditations or paid meditations at another time, or internalizing these tools for yourself and doing it. Doing it during conflict is going to look very different because, okay, we're not going to be sitting down with our eyes closed. Probably you shouldn't do that, right? Might make the person confused, but also there's going to be a lot more triggeredness going on. What I find is that if we can bring just a little bit of choice and just a little bit of attention to ourselves, rather than attention to what we wish would change in the situation or in the other person, if we can flip that gently and take a breath and notice how I'm doing, just for a moment, it really can shift the experience of the conflict and how the conflict affects us afterwards. So that's also an aspect of it being a practice. A little goes a long way. Another aspect is that it needs to be started again and again. Like you wash those dishes, and then there's more later on, or you go lift weights to build your tricep, bicep, whatever, and you have to keep doing it. Otherwise, it's not sustained. Okay, so it's a practice in many ways. So the whole point of this work is that I actually have a meditation about it's a course. It hasn't been approved yet, but it'll come out. Hasn't been published yet. There's a course that what is the thing that makes us most miserable, and figuring that out for yourself during conflict. And we often think it's the other person, and they certainly contribute, and they may be behaving very badly, and sometimes that is the only thing we can focus on, and we need to make sure we're safe. But what's empowering about this work is that it's between me and me. So on the one hand, we want, and that's what I have influence over. So on the one hand, we want to be able to get the other person to be with their feelings and do important work. And it may be really crying out as a need of theirs. But if they don't want to, there's only two things we can do. One, the most usual one we can do is to do our own work and to notice if there's anything if it's anything we're doing in the relationship that goes against what we most want. So when we shift our own behavior, our own approaches, that often has an effect on the other person. Not necessarily, but it may have an effect on the other person, or it may just help us be more clear about how we want to handle things. The other thing is, now, Sarah, I'm not sure if your husband is behaving in a way also that is not okay with you, and you want them to work through their emotions so that they don't behave badly. But that is something common. And so another way we can deal with that without being able to reach over there into that person's mind and heart and get them to do something that we know is good, we can't do that. But the more clear we can get, and that clarity, the process of getting to clarity includes making room for our emotions, then we can begin to notice what our boundaries are. So it doesn't work if it's a threat. Although that happens too when we do that, right? But for me, that boundary was very important. I didn't expect it to affect him the way it did, but having your red line, and okay, for me, then it was leaving, but at other times it's been leaving the room, or I'm not going to talk with you about this when it's like this. In some relationships, that makes things worse. So even if you're safe, and I see you're saying you're safe, and I'm very glad, but that he can be reactive often just with tone. So I can really resonate with that experience. And so I found sometimes that at the beginning, when I would try to set a boundary, the tone would just get worse. And I had to teach us both to set boundaries. And I had to find times, this is a big one too, to find times to talk about it that aren't during the conflict. Okay, so those of us that are conflict averse, what we do is We don't want to bring anything up that's going to cause a conflict because we're so relieved right now that everything's calm. So the only time we're talking about difficulties is in the middle of conflict. Does that ring a bell? I don't know if you want to heart that, but perhaps that rings a bell. Let me read this. Yes, that's where we are. I'm actively trying to find a job, but I'm not sure he's taking it seriously because I've said that before. And it's not done anything, but this time is different. Okay, so that's your boundary. Yeah. And being more independent and more financially independent is definitely an important part of the work. So I'm not sure if that's what finding a job is about for you, or just having a space that nourishes us and nurtures us somewhere else. So going to therapy, that's really important. Even for yourself, if the other person won't agree, figuring out, getting a space for yourself to work these things through so that you can bring, that's really important to be able to support yourself financially. That's part of freedom. Yeah. You're very welcome, Elena. Yeah. Yeah. So perhaps doing a therapeutic process to help you think through how you want to, like I've worked that way with many clients, of thinking through the situation of, and thinking through with the client. Men have come to me about this too, but it's mostly women, how they want to stand up for themselves, or how they want to bring up the issue, what's the fear, or what's getting in the way for them doing that, and how can they take a next step. Okay, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to end now. And please follow me. Click my picture that's up there on the right and click follow, and then you'll get notified. You're very welcome. I wish you success, and I wish you well and happiness. Yeah. And yeah, follow me so that you'll hopefully get notified of future lives that I do, and other workshops, other meditations on this subject. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wishing you well wherever you are. Wishing us all being able to bring our best selves to conflict, to heal ourselves and our relationships and the world. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.